time for what we like to call The World's Gone Mad. Of course, when we think of a world gone completely mad, we do tend to think of the novel and movie 1984, that dystopian world of government censorship and totalitarianism so vividly depicted by George Orwell, in which he describes this rather glum vision of our future.
If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face. Forever.
But in this day of robotics, AI and cyber technology, what sort of authoritarian dystopian boot will it be? A Chinese one, perhaps? Here are some Chinese robots practicing putting the boot in, as it were. Yes, China has launched its first humanoid robot soccer league in Beijing. The AI-controlled robots have the skills of 5 to 6-year-old children, for the time being. Meanwhile, another slightly more sinister Chinese robot has been showcased. I think this might be more what George Orwell had in mind. Yes, this mechanical death ball is armed with net guns, tear gas and smoke bombs, and can roll through water, bounce off walls, and never gets tired of chasing dissidents. The stuff of science fiction horror movies. And speaking of which, here in Australia we have our very own Orwellian e-safety commissioner who is relieved that the First Amendment doesn't apply in Australia, so she can ban everyone under 16 from using YouTube and social media. Sure sounds like Big Brother, or worse, Big Sister, to me. But there are, of course, far more efficient ways to get your teenage daughters off TikTok during meal times, like this. But over in the UK, what could be more Orwellian, more Big Brother, more dystopian than the police using human rights legislation to arrest people for cycling with their hands off the handlebars?
Cycling with their hands on the handlebars.
Yeah.
Okay. Places other road users at risk. Contravenes.
No, it doesn't. How does it? How does it? This is amazing. So, cycling no-handed violates Article 2 of the Human Rights Act. Is that the right to life?
No, I said it endangers people.
You said it
on the road.
You just said.
Perhaps the British police could find slightly more productive things to do, you know, like maybe try and get all those environmentally aware kiddies to actually clean up the mess they left behind at the ever so woke and ever so environmentally aware Glastonbury Music Festival. Yes, here's how today's youth care for the environment. Mind you, the truly toxic, obnoxious garbage wasn't on the ground at Glastonbury, it was on the stage, like this grub.
Aye, but have you heard this one though? Death, death to the IDF! Death, death to the IDF! Death, death to the IDF!
George Orwell's Big Brother was of course famous for inverting language, so I guess it's not all that surprising that Glastonbury, once the home of peace and love, is now all about bands calling out death chants to human beings. Almost as insane as this postmodern nonsense known as Queers for Palestine. Yes, that parade would last approximately 0 seconds in a free Palestine if the Palestinian Authority or Hamas had anything to do with it. Still, when it comes to not knowing your history, this girl takes the cake. Personally, holding a pro-Palestinian demonstration on an aeroplane might not be the best way to attract sympathy for your cause, given that back in the 1970s, Palestinian terrorists were responsible for an endless series of hijackings and bomb scares, terrorising passengers on TWA, on Pan Am, on Lufthansa, on Air France, on Gulf Air. The list went on, including, of course, the famous Entebbe hijacking, where Israeli commandos brilliantly rescued the passengers. Benjamin Netanyahu's brother died as a hero there. And back in the 1970s, hijackings and airline terrorism was so prevalent that an international federation of airline pilots threatened a global strike unless better security measures were introduced, which is partly why today's airline security is so stringent. So maybe holding a pro-Palestinian demonstration on an airplane ain't such a bright PR idea. Speaking of failed PR moves, here's how another group of blue-rinsed lefties decided to hijack a London Pride truck. And I guess this is what they mean when they say it's easy to get carried away with these sorts of demonstrations these days.
No, it's pretending to care about minorities and oppressed groups while they're enabling a genocide. They're here in London Pride. Keep pushing.
Still, in this modern world of relevance deprivation, there are plenty of other ways of drawing attention to yourself. You could always get a pet raven. Is it a bird? Is it a rapper? No, it's plain bonkers Cardi B at a Paris fashion show this week. Clearly, Cardi has struggled to find any relevance since she foolishly agreed to back Kamala Harris last year by reading this deeply heartfelt speech from her iPhone.
I believe in every word that comes out of her mouth. She's passionate, she's compassionate, she shows empathy, and most of all, she is not delusional.
No, nothing delusional about Kamala Harris other than the delusion that she thought she might win the presidency. But speaking about delusional, here's the brother of the director of the latest version of Superman, convinced that if he sells it as a woke story about illegal immigrants, those anti-Trump audiences will come flocking.
It is exactly what the movie is about, I think, that, like, we support our people, you know? We love our immigrants. Yes, Superman is an immigrant. And yes, the people that we support in this country are immigrants. And if you don't like that, then you're not American.
Is it a bird? Is it an MS-13 gang member? No, it's super woke. Oh dear, where's Christopher Reeves when you need him? I hope that character isn't relying on a share of profits to pay his mortgage. But delusional isn't quite as bad as deranged, which leads us, of course, to Trump derangement syndrome and our top TDS tantrums of the week. Hard to go past this fragrant and delightful character.
Well, you just couldn't call, could you, Magus? You just couldn't help out a few thousand or million people who are going to go hungry and are going to live in the streets. Thanks, MAGA.
Oh dear. Meanwhile, here's chronic TDS sufferer Rosie O'Donnell, who, despite fleeing Trump's America to go and live in Ireland, still can't seem to get Trump out of her head. You see, the tragic Texas floods were all the fault of Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill.
These are the results that we're going to start to see on a daily basis because he's put this country in so much danger by his horrible, horrible decisions and this ridiculously immoral bill that he just signed into law.
But if you think she's a bit kooky, wait till you get a load of the Red Brigade, the Red Lipstick Brigade, that is.
Hello, it's the Master. The reason I have red lipstick on is because I'm at the demonstration in Traverse City. There are thousands of us. And red lipstick, I was informed last night by my friend Jen, was a form of resistance when Hitler was trying to take over the world. He didn't like women wearing red lipstick. So I've decided red lipstick. Everybody put on red lipstick to show resistance against you-know-who.
Ah, yes, you know who. But hang on, maybe this is catching on.
Are you coming to the tree where Dad man called out for his love to flee?
Wow, red lippy, what a powerful tool of TDS resistance. The emphasis being, of course, on the word tool. Still, nothing says resistance and sticking it to the man like being a professor from Minnesota University, putting a tea towel around your shoulders and urging your pupils to dismantle the United States.
Of all liberation struggles and the movements that seek a world of justice, equality, and peace, that seek to dismantle the United States, I hope you seek to dismantle the United States. And if that isn't your politics, okay?
Speaking of Kamala Harris, who of course might have single-handedly dismantled both America and the Western Alliance if she'd won the election, we learned this week of another disastrous interview Kamala Harris held during her campaign, along with all the other disastrous interviews. This one was with cool hip podcaster Kareem Rama. It did not go well.
So I said yes based on the fact that it would be a good story, and also they both had good takes.
What happened with Kamala?
Her take was really confusing and weird and not good. And so mutually agreed that we shouldn't publish it.
I see.
And I got lucky because I didn't want to be blamed for her losing.
Not good and weird. In Trento, in the northeast of Italy, it turns out they have a bizarre medieval ritual where they dunk the worst politician of the year into the river in a wooden cage.
16 che il giudice Kagol ha sentenziato in un crescendo di spettacolarità. Le roste dell'Adige stipate in ogni lembo verde, condannati alla tonca il consigliere provinciale Claudio Cia, perché, a detta della giuria, ha prima sfidato il sindaco Andreatta e poi ha scelto di rimanere sulla comoda poltrona di Piazza Dante.
I guess Kamala Harris can be thankful for small mercies, lucky she wasn't running in Trento. And speaking of dodgy politicians, or rather doji politicians, have a listen to this exchange about the ridiculous grants that were being handed out by US taxpayers until Elon Musk came along with his chainsaw.
Let's do another one. This one is called hashtag Transcendent Health, adapting an LGB plus inclusive teen pregnancy prevention program for transgender boys. I can't even say this without laughing. Do you think that that is a useful form of our tax spend?
I am not familiar with that grant, but I think bench research, government investment in scientific and pharmaceutical
teen pregnancy
research.
for transgender boys. Do you think that that is a useful spend of our tax dollars?
I think government investment in all kinds of scientific research is of the utmost importance.
Including pregnancy prevention for transgender boys. Okay.
Yes, it truly is an Orwellian world gone mad.